Welcome to another video and my 2023 season planning. Now, I love a good plan. I really do. I love making a list. I love making a schedule. I love knowing what's happening all year long, way in advance. However, I own horses, so I am well aware that sometimes planning doesn't go to plan. Oh no, hold on. Planning goes to plan, but then my plan doesn't go to plan once I've planned it. So, especially over the last few years, I have learned that I need to have a mindset that yes, I've got a plan, yes, I have goals, but they need to be fluid and flexible. And basically, I just celebrate the small wins. And if I make it to the start line or even to the venue of a ride, then that's great. I was so lucky as a teenager to have Tizzy, who literally stuck to her plan every single year, year after year. What an absolute unicorn that pony is. But that isn't the reality of owning horses. So this is my plan A. And it's actually, I really enjoyed making this last year in 2022 and then watching it back at the end of the year and going, wow, plan A. I mean, plan A did quite well until about June. So we'll see how far we get this year. So when I start planning, the first thing I do, and one of my favourite things to do, is buy a diary planner. I'm such a nerd, aren't I? I've been buying this exact type of planner for the last 5 years. I keep them all as well, because then I go back through them and refer to them, and this is where I get all my stats and stuff and things off. Now, I just love a paper planner for setting intentions, reflections, having a space where all of my brain is in somewhere. But I do also use my phone for like a electronic diary. So my kind of diary in terms of what's on what dates, I use my phone. But for like planning and setting goals and tracking them, I use a paper diary. So I really like this one. They're from Box Clever Press, and I can't remember which one they are, but this is the week to view one. And the reason I like them is because, one, they have like a little year to view, where I can like highlight all my annual leave and when I'm away for work and things like that. Then it has a section for goals and dreams for the year. So I put in things like exercise, housework, and yes, I know that's a really odd thing to put as a goal and dream, but if I do like my allocated housework a week, I feel like I've achieved something, so I put it down. What Estrid is doing, what the ponies are doing, planning our wedding, I've got some goals in there, reading books, my money goals and things like that. So it's a really good like global what you want to achieve this year, goals and dreams. Then it goes on for like plans for 2023, and it doesn't have dates and stuff. It's just like a nice 2-page layout. And then it has like these big project areas. So basically it has what the project is, complete by, you can make like little budgets, and then you can break it down and have little sections. And there's four of these. Yeah, and I really like to use them for my finances, for my horse goals, for my reading goals, and for endurance as well. So once you've got through that, let me get like an example that I haven't already written on. Each month then has a whole month to view, and I love having this. I love being able to see the whole month, so like I'm not planning a week and not having in mind what's coming up in a couple of weeks and things. So I like having that initial big month to view, and then it kind of hones down. So it also then has your plans and your goals for each month, and I kind of put exercise. I also track my waist circumference. I don't like doing weight because I think it's pointless, because when I'm training really hard and I'm super muscly, I'm actually quite heavy, and my BMI comes up as like overweight, which I'm not. But I track my waist circumference just to keep an eye on how my training is going, how many pies I've been eating and things like that, because I like to keep myself nice and fit. Then I have my housework. So cool. Reading, horses, my spending and finances, and I break it down to each month. And then it has a bills tracker, which I don't use for bills. I use this as my spending, so I put all my spending down here, which sometimes is painful to look back on, but I break it down into like essentials, non-essentials, and then horses. And then every single week has this. So it has a nice little list here of all the things I want to do that week, which I really like because I have the memory of a sieve, and if it isn't written down, it probably won't happen. And then it has these sections. So I use this top section for the horses. No, that's a lie. I use the top section for me where I have like my exercises. So I'll put like where my PT sessions are, and I schedule the gym like it's an appointment. I don't think, oh, I'll go at some point this week. I schedule it in. And then my cleaning the house I put in, and then my reading, and I tick when I've done it because it gives me a sense of achievement and it kind of motivates me to do it. So I enjoy everything once I'm doing it, but I struggle to actually get myself to do something. So I do that. This middle section I then use for the horses, and it's really handy for things like I opened a big bale today and I've got 6 left. This is when I wormed them, this is what I wormed them with. And then I literally plan my training for each week. So I will put like Estrid is being ridden on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday that week, and Rue is doing jumping on Sunday, and Tizzy is doing whatever. So that's how I kind of plan out each week individually. And then this bottom one is for like social occasions and work things. This one doesn't get filled much. So if I'm off on a conference with work, or I'm going out for dinner with Dan, then I'll put them along the bottom one if I have appointments and stuff. So yeah, that is how I plan my planning in my planner. I'm so cool. Once I have my planning tools, I need to actually have a plan. I wonder how many times I'm going to say plan in this, and if you made it into a drinking game, how drunk you would be. I don't advocate that, but it would be funny, I guess. Anyway, my goals for the year. So, with Estrid, I would like to complete her Novice season. I feel like this is my 1 millionth Novice season. I'm pretty good at them now. And with Tizzy, this is so exciting. I can't tell you how excited I am about this, but Tizzy's goal for the year is to get to the start line and complete Man versus Horse. Now, for those of you who don't know what Man versus Horse is, it is a race in Wales, very close to where I grew up. That is what it says on the tin. It is a marathon, like a human length marathon, 20 something miles, 21, 22 miles. How long is a marathon? 23 miles? Oh my God, I should know this. Anyway, it's a marathon, and it is a mass start of horses and humans, and it's a race. There is a vet gate midway through, and it's a little bit different to endurance vet gates, not that much. So your heart rate has to be under 64, you have to complete the trot up, but then there's no hold, so you literally tack up as fast as you can, go straight back out on course. And I think there's prize money for runners, and the prize money is accumulative, so if a runner wins, then they win lots of money. If a horse wins, everyone expects a horse to win, so I think there isn't a prize for them. It's just the fun of taking part. Yeah, and I've never ever done it. I've watched it twice, and it's such like an iconic thing, and it looks so much fun, and it's completely different to something I've done before. And I really wanted to have something to do with Tizzy because she really enjoys being in training, and she really enjoys a race environment. So I thought that would be ideal for her, and I was super, super lucky to get an entry. And also, Kate Atkinson, my friend from when I was on Team GB, we were on Team GB together in 2012. She is entered and is going to be riding her team horse as well. So it'll be really, really lovely to see lots of familiar faces and do something completely different and have a nice bit of motivation for getting Tizzy out and about again. Oh, I'm so excited, I can't tell you. And then Rue. A bit of an odd goal I have with Rue, but I would really like to do a cross-country course, whether that be competitively at like a hunter trial or an arena eventing or something like that, or literally just I hire a proper cross-country course and do the whole course. But we'll just focus on Estrid for this video because it's a little bit easier to just focus on what she's doing and how to break that down and things. So with Estrid, I want to complete her novice season, and I work backwards from that goal. So to complete a novice season in the UK, you need to have completed 3 40-kilometre rides. So basically, what I do is I get on the EGB website and I go onto the events, and there's a filter at the top, and I just filter for all 40 kilometres in the whole of the UK. I then write them all down on a piece of paper, usually kind of in what month they're in categories, so that I know every single 40 kilometre available to me. And then I break it down again to the ones closest to me and the ones that are spread out enough that she can go to them, because I don't want to do a 40 kilometre one weekend and the next weekend. I would rather they were kind of 3 to 4 weeks minimum apart. So ideally, I would love to just go to new rides, different rides that I haven't been to before, travel to places and make it a bit of a holiday. But when I'm doing something because I need that horse to qualify through them, I prefer to go to rides that I know, because I know the going, I know if it's going to be suitable for that horse, and I prefer it to be closer because it's cheaper. I don't have to pay for as much fuel, I don't have to stay overnight, and it is just generally easier, especially for a novice season. So once I've got my list of my closest 40 kilometres to me, now I'm planning this year a little bit different to the years, my previous planning methods, because what I'm doing is I'm picking one 40k closest to me on the EGB schedule per month. So rather than saying I want to go to this one in April, this one in June, this one in October, I'm just having a selection of rides that I could go to if all the stars align and all my plans go to plan, and Estrid is good. So instead of kind of staying to like a strict schedule that I really want to achieve, I'm being a little bit more open, a little bit more relaxed about this year. So I've literally got a list of 40 kilometres, one a month, from April to October, which is 7 opportunities for Estrid to complete her novice season. Now, in an ideal world, I would like her to have upgraded by June. So in the UK, our summers have been quite dry the last few years, and the ground has been super hard after June, and I would rather not run her on that kind of ground. So if we can complete our novice season by June, that would be excellent. If not, she might not do a July, August, depending on the ground, and we might have to complete kind of later in the season in September, October. But in an ideal world, in a Beth's hopes and dreams for 2023 world, I'd like to complete her novice by June, and maybe, just maybe, do a 2-day 80 kilometre at the end of the season. But we'll see how things go. We're keeping it open. So as well as knowing what all the 40 kilometres around me are, I also like to know all the pleasure rides and the like local group rides, the ones without a vetting, because they make really good training. And considering Estrid is still a little bit nervous about going out and about, I'd like to take it out and about as much as possible, and pleasure rides are a really good way of doing that and getting her to venues and mixing up our training a little bit. So I've got a list of the 40 kilometres that we can do and all the pleasure rides we can enter. I then look at those dates and those rides and go backwards for my training schedule, but also for when the farrier needs to come, when the physio needs to come, if my lorry has an MOT the week before a 40k, then I'd rather bump it a week back so that I've got plenty of bumper space, literally with a lorry, so that I know that I will have transport. Just little things like that make a big difference to my peace of mind, and to kind of minimise anything going wrong. I mean, it still might. And then what I do is budget. So I know how many farrier visits I'm going to need. I know how many physio visits that I want to have. I also know how much a 40k costs. So I think 40k at the moment is like £41 per ride. I also budget fuel. So I look at the rides that I am thinking of doing, and I then give myself 50p per mile. I think that's overkill, but it does mean that I've always got money in the bank for fuel. I then break that all down, like I divide it by 8 months, which is the length of the season, and then I put it into a separate bank account. And that is my competing pony bank account. So I feel like I spread the cost out a little bit more, and I never kind of feel like, oh my god, I need to put fuel in the lorry, I need to use my credit card. That sometimes happens, but at least I've tried. And lastly, I break down my cycles of training. So Estrid will be on 6-week training cycles. The next 6 weeks we're literally just focusing on her education still. Like everything we're doing is learning, and her fitness and strength will come from that. We're not focusing on speed or distance or literally anything. It's just all about education. But then after that first 6-week cycle, we'll reassess, and we'll probably add a little bit more fitness kind of training in, spend a little bit longer in the saddle, and then I just keep reviewing and cycling, because that really works for me in terms of planning my training into 6 week, so from a year, down from a year into 6-week blocks, down from 6 weeks blocks into weeks, and that's how I kind of keep on top of it and manage my life expectations. And yeah, I like to feel like I have it all under control and I can see, like, on paper what is happening. So fingers crossed for me that 2023 is our year, that Estrid finishes her novice season, that I complete a whole cross-country course, and that Tizzy finishes man versus horse. We shall see. December 2023, when you look back at this, I hope it went well.